I always loved playing guitar. I got my first guitar when I was 8 years old. Smoke on the Water, the whole thing. You know, and it was something that was a comfort for me. It was a tonic. Guitar has been the one place in my life where if I had it in my hands, I felt okay.
One day you die, my son, next day you don't. This life can beat you down when the cold wind blows. I was born in 58 and I'm a wiser man.
Over the years, I was always writing songs, and life has a way of taking you off the main highway onto the dirt roads, and that's certainly my story. In 2015, I had a little bit of a life crash. Who am I kidding? A big life crash. And I had to change one thing, everything.
It's about right
Ryan and I got together at his house, and Ryan Humbert and I got together at his house, and I just took a bunch of songs. We had talked about making a record, and yeah, let's do it. And he invited me down to sit on his porch, and we sat on his porch. And you never know as a writer. You think, well, that might be okay, but you really don't know. Especially because at that point in life, I was living a pretty isolated existence musically. My writing really wasn't coming forth. I had really put that aside after Any Ordinary Man. And much to my surprise, he kept saying, "Man, that's a good song. Man, that's a good song." And so we started, making plans for the great design of doing another record.
The way that the band came about for this new album is I was producing an event at E.J. Thomas Hall called Won't Back Down, a tribute to Tom Petty, and it was shortly after Tom passed away. Put together a fantastic house band, and that house band really brought something to the table that night. And Marc and I were backstage, and I looked at him and said, I think these are the guys. I think we should get these guys together to be on the record. So some of the great musicians that contributed to the record, Kevin Martinez from the Speed Bumps on bass, Russ Flanagan from Ray Flanagan and the Authorities on keys, John Anthony and Ed Davis from the Vindies on drums and guitar. My longtime backup singer Emily Bates came in and did some beautiful harmonies. I did a few random things here and there, sang and played guitar. And we also had John and Bree from Welshly Arms come in and sing some backup vocals. And really it came together so naturally. I mean, we really got a lot done in 3 days. I would say 75% of the record was done in a 3-day period. It came together so quickly, but it felt right. It felt good. The players were into the music. Everybody really was looking at the same goal.
I believe we were cutting 6 or 7 songs a day in the tracking sessions. And when it came time to do vocals, I think I cut 8 vocals in one night, which is just not the way records are done anymore. But I'm really super proud of the way we did it because, again, it's real live music. You just can't fake that. There's not a lot of overdubs going on here.
We're recording it with modern equipment, but it definitely feels, I don't want to say timeless, but it feels like an older record. It feels like 90s Tom Petty, a lot of this kind of Americana stuff that's classic. It doesn't really have to have, doesn't sound like it's from a certain time. It just kind of, again, it sounds like people in a room playing music.
I wanted to approach producing this batch of songs the way that I try to do any project that I'm kind of at the helm for, and that is to let the songs really do the work. I'm a firm believer that a song is going to tell you which direction it should go and what it should sound like. Marc had a lot of great songs, and a lot of them were from different genres. Overall, I would definitely call it Americana, but he had some rockers. He had some songs that had a little more soul. He had some ballads. He had stuff that was kind of all over the map, and you can do one of two things. You can try to cram all that into one specific sound, or you can let those songs tell you where they want to go, and that's what we did. And there's some really beautiful ballads, and there's some fun, stomping rockers. And at the end of the day, I think it makes it incredibly listenable because it takes you on a bit of a journey because each song tells you where it wanted to go.
For me, it's the songs that we're hiding for so long. And there are certain songs that are really tough to let out. You know, they come from deep places. And, you know, there's certainly a lot of songs on this record that are you know, literally I had to dig deep into the files to be able to pull them out and be able to play them. As a matter of fact, some of the songs, singing them, were just a little bit difficult to do, and still are tough to play and sing. But you know, that's when it's, you know, it's real, isn't it? You know, when you have a hard time singing a lyric because it's so heartfelt to you, I think you've tapped into something that really is the real deal.
You know, I'm really excited about this record because I really hope that it helps place Marc where he so deserves to be. And I don't say this with disrespect, but I see him as a bit of an elder statesman in the area here. And this is a guy who has had an amazing career as a session musician, as a side man. He's been a songwriter. He's done all sorts of different stuff in the music business for a long time now, not just here in Ohio, but also, you know, all across the country. And I saw in him that he had this great batch of songs, and he had this drive, and he had this passion, and he wanted to get out there and finally say things on his own terms. It's really, I think, opening eyes to who Marc Shannon is, and that was really, you know, my main goal, was to help elevate him to where he deserves to be.
One of the things that's real important about this record that's maybe more difficult to talk about is that, you know, it is about the life change that I had in my life, you know what I mean? I am a recovering alcoholic and addict, and that's not something that people easily talk about because you get thrown into such a stigma of, you know, that room, you know what I mean? And everybody knows somebody that's probably, you know, had problems or troubles in that direction. So it's easy for people to make up their minds. But this really isn't a record about you know, that as more as it's about, you know, transformation, you know. So those are the key points that I wanted to leave on. So.